Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, as always, Darren Campbell, and joining me to my right, as usual, on a Monday is Jason Cameron. Hey, Jason, how's it going?
Pretty good. Long day today, but it was a beautiful day today. That's one thing I can say. Gorgeous. It's super nice to work out in the elements when it's not raining. I like that. That's when I like working outside.
Yeah, no, I was happy. It was a little rainy early today, and then all of a sudden, boom! It just became gorgeous. And yeah, we're always blessed to be in this part of the world when it's a sunny day, and especially when you're working outside. It really sucks in the rain. So when you get a nice day, you really appreciate it a ton.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And it was a beautiful one today.
So it was a busy weekend, lots to talk about. We're going to get into talking about the UFC big card they had on Saturday. We're going to talk about the NBA All-Star Game. There was a few news and notes from the world of the NFL today, and yeah, a few different things. I am on day 10 of my quarantine, so I get released out of my home prison in about 4 days, and I can't wait. I've decided to go on the James Harden diet here, and I've dropped some pounds over that time. I think he dropped about 30 in about 2-3 days. I don't know how he pulled that off, but I've been able to just slim down. I don't really need to eat much while I'm home, not doing a lot. So I did that. I also feel a bit stir crazy, and this first thing this morning I decided I was really angry. Somebody was making a lot of noise in the hallway, so I Petr Yan them and KO'd them. And it took them a while to pull out of their concussion and sort of come to. I just lost it. I couldn't stand it anymore. Opened my door, threw an uppercut, knocked him down, and then kneed him when I thought I heard somebody say kick him, so I just kneed him, and it turned out it was the mailman.
Oh, that poor mailman. All he's trying to do is just do his job.
Yeah, he was just making way too much noise for me, and I hadn't slept well. I was angry for being home so long. I just Petr Yan him right in the chin, boom, knocked him down. His eyes were going, and I stayed with him for a while until he could get up, and then I sent him on his way. He didn't seem mad about it. So.
So he was expecting that. Oh, that's good. That's good. Expecting somebody to attack him and then knee him in the head like that.
Yeah, I think it's happened before. He's got bitten by dogs, he said. He's got a lot of angry folks, but I just lost my shit today. I got to get out of this quarantine. I'm going a bit stir crazy. I got to get some fresh air.
Hey man, just hang in there, buddy. 4 more days. 4 more days.
4 more days.
That's all you got to think. 4 more days.
I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to try my best. It's been tough, but it did give me a lot of opportunity to watch a ton of basketball. The basketball NBA All-Star Game was supposed to be held in Indiana. They canceled that and decided to just do a one-day affair in Atlanta. And you said you didn't really get a chance to see the dunk contest, but it was the worst dunk contest I've ever seen them have. They put it at halftime. They only had 3 competitors. They only actually did the 3 competitors did 2 dunks in the first round, and then they just did 1 dunk in the final between 2 guys. And the only thing that was kind of interesting was that he brought out Spud Webb and Dominique Wilkins to jump over when he was making a dunk, which was, 2 sort of legends from the Hawks. And the guy that ended up winning, he tried to do a kiss of the dunk of the rim, and he came up close with his lips, and then he pulled away because I think he thought, oh, I'm going to bust my teeth right out of my mouth. So he didn't even kiss it. He just pretended. and they gave him the title. It was horrible. You didn't miss anything, man. It was just the worst dunk contest that they've ever had.
Yeah, okay. So you know what? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Okay. Let me clear up some things for the fans. A couple things. There's a reason why I didn't watch the All-Star game or really pay attention to what was going on. Because, and I still feel very strongly about this. I still feel very strongly about this. I don't believe it should have been even happening, to be honest with you. I don't believe they should have actually held it in the first place. I just thought it was kind of irresponsible for the league to put on something that's actually for the fans, but fans literally can't go to the event. So what's the point in having a thing for the fans when fans can't be there? You know what I mean? Like it didn't make any sense to me on why they needed to really throw this down our throats and just say, well, the All-Star weekend's here and we're doing this. It's gonna be a thing. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I get your point, and I understand what you're saying. I was in the same mindset. I thought, this is the year they should just skip it. With the world of COVID, worrying about guys getting COVID as they start the second half, and a lot of the issues and difficulties getting everybody flying in there for just a day, and they were actually allowing their family members there, so that was actually, I think, even endangering the players even more, because now they had all their families gathering together. Right on the eve of the game, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were pulled out of the game because they went to get their haircut and their barber tested positive for COVID. So they were pulled out, and it was wrong to do it. But it actually ended up being an entertaining game, and it ended up being an entertaining 3-point contest. The skills competition was just, I didn't like the dunk contest. The 3-point competition was fun because Steph Curry stepped up. He, proved that he's the best shooter in the game. And it's exciting watching him shoot the ball. It's exciting watching all those guys shoot the ball. But when Steph grabs the ball, it's must-see TV. It's something that you just can't get enough of. And for him to win it on the very last shot of the whole competition, I thought it was pretty cool.
That was cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was cool. It's always cool to see that guy shoot the ball, and then also too to see him put himself in a corner, because he literally did. Because I don't think he hit one ball in that first rap, not one. And then he kind of went on, and this was like, you could tell though he was kind of calm about it, like, oh, I guess I'm gonna give the fans a little something to see here. Maybe I might lose. Oh, no, I'm not going to lose. Yeah. I don't do that, right? And yeah. I was more impressed, though, that Mike Connolly was actually in the finals with him. Yeah. I'm like, oh, man. So, Connolly can shoot a little bit, clearly. But he went up against the GOAT. Like, literally, I think we can all say now that Steph is the best shooter of all time. Oh, yeah. I think we can literally say that. Like, hands down, for sure. Hands down. Hands down.
No, I thought it was great. They had a couple of members of the Celtics. They had a couple of members of the Jazz. They had Steph, who everybody, said should win because he is the best shooter in the world, and he did. And it was really fun. The Jazz, you and I have talked about the Jazz quite a bit through the year, and, wondering how they're doing it. They have, the best record in the association, but they have a great center. They've got Mitchell. Now they've got Conley. They're really putting a amazingly tight, deep team there. And it was great to see those guys. Conley shot the ball super well, but Steph, showed that he is the man.
Oh yeah, well, Steph is Steph. Like you don't have all those accolades and all those like records for 3-pointers in the season for nothing. You know what I mean? And by the way, he showed it again in the game. It was funny for me to, I'm going to talk about the game for a little bit. It was funny for me to see the game and see the kind of friendly rivalry. I'll call it that. It's still competitive as all get up, but the friendly rivalry between him and Damian Lillard to see who could hit the deeper threes. The Steph was on fire, and so was Dame. Yeah. That was awesome to see.
So great.
Awesome.
So great to see both those guys just shooting the lights out. They both were 8 for 16 from 3, and they were stepping over half court and just launching the ball and sinking it. And for Dame to get those last 2 3-pointers to, pull out the win. And Steph, had his minutes and he was just shooting the lights out as well. Those guys just make basketball so exciting these days. It's just so fun to see them on the court because they are dangerous from everywhere once they cross half court.
Which is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard in my life. So it's like, are you trying to tell me that I got to guard the guy as soon as he crosses half? Yes, you do, because he can pull and hit, and then that's it. Like, he can hit that shot. They can hit those shots, which is utterly ridiculous, but absolutely true.
Yeah, well, when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, everybody was saying, well, Steph has won these couple MVPs, but now he's actually not the best player on his team. And I took offense to that because Steph is so valuable because of that. He steps across the court. People have to come and approach him. And then he's got open lanes to get the ball to his other teammates. His other teammates have, so much more opportunity because he has to have a guy up on him really, really close soon as he gets over half court because he's dangerous everywhere on the floor. And he's able to move without the ball so well that he'll just find an opening, find an opportunity, and his release is so freaking quick that you just can't leave him alone at all. You have to, somebody has to be on him. They have to do really fast switches, and I think he is still one of the most valuable players in the game, and just such a huge, massive weapon.
He just needs literally a sliver of daylight. And that's all he needs. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, just hit 9 threes today. Yep, we lost. And it will happen that quick. He can hit threes like nobody's business. Him and Damian Lillard, and that was an absolute pleasure to see those two play. When I saw the highlights, especially when Dame hit him at the end, buzzer beater, half court 3.
Yeah, and that's what he's become known for in the last few years is, hitting those shots. And LeBron James said that was the first time him and Steph had ever played together on a team. And he said, still proving that he's the greatest shooter in the game. He tweeted out, it was such a pleasure playing with him. And I actually didn't remember this, but they were both born in the same hospital in Akron, Ohio.
What? I had no idea that that hospital would have 2 Hall of Famers born in it.
Pretty cool, man. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And Steph was humble. He said, obviously he's the guy from Akron. He'll always be the guy from Akron. But yeah, we were born in the same hospital. I was raised in other places, but he's the man. And it's pretty neat that we're both born in that same hospital. And yeah, so that was fun. The other part that I really liked was that there was $3 million contributed to the historically Black colleges, university, the HBCUs, and they were playing the game for charity. The team that won was able to, based on their name, they were able to have a lot of charity given to them, and $3 million raised, which was fantastic and really nice to see. And that's one thing that these all-star games and these benefits really, really help the communities that they're in.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, I guess if the game had to be played, which they probably had more to do with contractual obligations with the TV networks than anything else, if I had to guess, it's probably that. At least the money went towards a good cause. So that's good. And I couldn't be happier for that to happen.
Did you see what James Harden was wearing before the game? His fashion statement of the day?
I heard something that he wore something crazy. So but I did not see it.
This is what he wore. Can you see that?
What is that? Is that a rain jacket?
Yeah.
Or a rain jacket?
Yeah.
It's a rain jacket. He's wearing a rain jacket. I don't know if he's wearing pants underneath that. Doesn't look like think you got underwear underneath there. All right, so you wore a rain jacket. That's cool. Got a rain jacket on. I don't know. What do you think of that? What is that? Look like a
I decided that I would try to mimic his style, and let's see if you like my rain jacket that I found today. Did I match his nice fashion sense?
Yeah, man. That looks pretty fly. Pretty fly. What is that? Some sort of tent? What you got on there? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, I felt pretty cool today. I walked around my apartment after I knocked out the mailman. I decided I would order James Harden's newest outfit, and yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty fly, pretty fashionable.
You have been in that apartment for a long time, my friend. Long time.
Yeah, it's time to get the heck out of here. Yeah. I thought if it was raining today, I might go and try it out, but yeah, I don't know what he's thinking. It was the weirdest outfit I've ever seen. So
yeah, no, I know these guys. They like to try some fashion stuff. They like to try it out. That's a fail. It's a hard fail.
All right.
It's not very good. But yours, I like. Yours, I like.
Yeah, thanks.
That's good. His not so good.
Not so much. Okay, good. All right. Well, I'll find an occasion I can wear this soon.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that.
So before we go any forward, it is International Women's Day. We have to thank all the women in our lives, give them big props. I sent out a lot of texts and posts today, and thanked all the women in my life, and I want you to do the same, Jason. I think the women need days like this and recognize their massive contribution to our lives and to society in general. And I saw so many amazing videos today about all the incredible contributions that women are doing to the world of sports and our lives in general.
Yeah, man, it's an important day for our women folk, and it's awesome to pay our respects to them, to our mothers and the aunts, and to all those women that are important in our lives. And I think I said some kind words to some of my female coworkers today, where I'm like, way to go, way to be a woman, you did it. Okay, well, maybe a little bit sarcastic, but I think you get it. I think you get what I'm trying to say, which is I high fived. No, wait, can't do that. COVID. So I elbowed them and I said, "Hey, way to go!
Nice.
You're a woman."
Elbowing them. I'm sure they appreciated that. Good job.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not so much, but I tried, man. I tried.
Yeah. No, it was great. I think one of my favorite conversations I saw today was Doris Burke. She came on Tim's new show. Tim and Sid is no longer, and it's Tim and his friends that's called now. And he had Doris Burke on there. She's such a revolutionary basketball commentator, and does an amazing job. And everything she said today, I was so happy that he had her on as a guest. It was a pleasure.
Oh man, yeah, Doris Burke is one of the best, and in her profession, she is as professional as it gets. Her insight is just she makes basketball watching a lot better with her analysis, and I've always appreciated what she brought to the table, and I hope she continues to do what she does for a very, very, very long time.
There was a story about the NFL and the first couple females that got jobs from the NFL, and now there's 120 females employed in various capacities in the NFL. Really amazing to see that. There's so many barriers that are being broken down by women, and eventually one day we're going to get to a point where it's not even a story anymore, because there's women in every position that there possibly can be. But yeah, it's nice to have days like this to show young girls that there are people that represent jobs that they might want in the sporting world, and all the obstacles that the females that are in jobs right now have overcome and are in great positions. And yeah, it was just a really, really great day. I was happy to be able to be home and see so many stories from great women.
Oh, of course, man. Like, yeah, because there's a ton of them out there, and it's refreshing to hear their stories being told to us if we've never heard them before. It's always good to hear good stories about good people.
Okay, well, why don't we shift into the UFC, which was a massive event, UFC 259. Amazing card with 3 title fights on the card, and that's only happened 4 times in history before. So it was a very anticipated card. You and I talked about it a ton. I'm going to get rid of this stupid outfit, and I want you to start talking about the main event. Israel Adesanya, middleweight champion, decided to try to go up and win the light heavyweight title, and thinking that maybe this Jan Blachowicz guy is an easy mark, and he was just outmatched, outweighed, and he wasn't able to pull off the champ title belt, getting two titles at the same time. Blachowicz had a great game plan and pulled out a huge win.
Well, first off, you could just tell in the beginning of the fight the difference between the two fighters and the size of the two fighters, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Blachowicz is an actual light heavyweight at 205, and Israel didn't even make the 205 limit. He didn't get to it.
He was only 200.5 pounds, so he was 5.5 pounds under the limit, which shocked me.
Yeah, I think it's really hard for a person of his constitution to actually put on size, to put on weight and keep it on. And he wasn't going to push to try to put on more muscle or anything. He was just going to do what he was going to do and try to use his speed to his advantage. And it somewhat worked for the first 3 rounds. He was able to stay on his feet and everything else. But you could tell as the rounds went on, Blachowicz was skillfully and strategically closing the distance and getting closer and inching closer. He wasn't really pushing for the takedown. He was just inching closer. And even in the stand-up, Izzy didn't actually have an overwhelming advantage in the stand-up. I thought maybe it would be. It was not.
No.
It clearly was not.
No, I was surprised by that. I think all of us thought that his speed and his technical ability, he would be able to hit him a few times and move out of range and get into range and get some kicks. But no, it wasn't an advantage on the feet really for Adesanya at all. Blachowicz just really, was super solid, just kept his game plan and moved forward, and very impressive, super impressive. He really validated that he deserves to be the champion of that weight division.
Yes, he does. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And it's like you said, solid game plan. And then in the 4th and 5th rounds, he took him down. And guess what? Izzy couldn't get up because the guy outweighed him by like 30 pounds. So now you're talking about a guy that outweighs you by 30 pounds, that's technically savvy on the ground. How are you going to get up from that? You are not going to get up from that. That's what he had to deal with. I'm just gonna say, you know what? The fight, I guess we could have said, was gonna go this way anyways. Like in hindsight, 2020, fight went this way, should have went this way, and it did go this way. But what surprised me more than anything else is that Blachowicz's stand-up is good. It was spot on.
Very impressive.
And Izzy just did not have an advantage on his feet.
No.
Not much of one. Maybe very slight, but not enough to make a huge difference in the fight.
but no, yeah. No, it was super impressive. I really, I didn't really consider that Adesanya would weigh that weight. I thought he would be closer to Blachowicz. I thought he would have to cut weight, but he actually didn't cut weight at all. He didn't even get up to that limit. I think that was a big mistake by him and his camp. I think probably if you're going to change weight class where there's 20 pounds difference, I think you maybe have to wait a bit longer. Maybe it's a longer time getting prepared for the fight, or have a tune-up fight before you fight for the title belt. Most weight divisions are only 10 points or 10 pounds apart, but this one being 20, significant difference in body size. And Adesanya, there was no way he was getting this 230-pound guy off of him once they were on the ground. He just, I'm surprised that Blachowicz didn't try to do that early on, because he probably would have dominated all 5 rounds and would have, had a, complete smoke show in the whole fight. But yeah, once he did take him down, he got 3 takedowns, and there was no way Adesanya was getting up.
No, there was absolutely no way. Like, it was not happening. It was not happening. But to Izzy's credit, he was able to like mitigate the damage. Like, he was able to lessen the damage that Blachowicz could give to him. So at the end of the fight, he wasn't that marked up. But obviously, too, he didn't win that fight.
No, he was in worse shape fighting Gastelum. He more beat up than this fight, but he definitely didn't win the fight. Suffered his first loss. I don't think it really puts a massive blemish on his career and where he stands. I do think, though, that probably cost him a lot of money, because they were always talking about this John Jones Adesanya possibility. I think that throws that fight right out the window, and might never happen. It definitely won't happen soon, but I think that would have been one of those big pay-per-views where you get 1 million buys if he would have waited and fought Jones instead of going in and losing this fight.
Yeah, no, that would have been huge. But I think it was pretty clear to me and pretty clear to everybody that watched that fight, that's not his weight division. And and guess what? It never will be. He just doesn't have the frame for it. He just doesn't have the frame for it, man. He's going to be a middleweight and stay there.
Maybe, a lot of people said that about John Jones going heavyweight. They never thought, but as you get older, your body starts changing. It's a little harder to lose weight. I think he's 6'4". I think he has the ability to bulk out, but it takes a while. It takes a while to change your body, and your body's used to getting, going up and down in weight, being this weight on fight night, and to change it so quickly. I think it was just biting off way more than he could chew. I'm actually impressed that he did it, that he tried to be the champ. It is very, very tough. It's not an automatic. Some of the guys and girls that have fought for it in the last couple of years have been successful, but it's just not an automatic thing.
No, of course it's not an automatic thing. And then also, too, for a lot of the other champs that have become that, they only had to deal with a 10-pound increase when they went for their belts, not a 20-pound one. 20 pounds is a big deal. It's a very, very, very big deal. So a lot harder to go up 20 pounds than it is to go up 10 pounds.
Yeah, the stats on the night were the strikes were 184 to 99 for Blachowicz, 107 to 78 significant strikes, 3 takedowns, and 7 minutes and 6 seconds of control time. And Adesanya had no takedowns or control time. So, Blachowicz definitely good on him, big victory, and he should, if he can, keep this up, he's going to be considered one of the best guys ever in that weight class. So very impressive, very impressive. few years ago, he was almost on the outs in the UFC, but he's turned it around and really, really been impressive lately. Okay, we'll talk about the second title fight that was held on the night. Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson. It really wasn't a contest. I think all of us thought, you know, she just doesn't really have a competitor out there in all these females that they keep putting in front of her. I think some of us, you know, some of the people around the fight game thought Megan's big. She might be able to keep her on the outside. She might, you know, have a bit of a chance, but it was just a complete wipeout. And yeah, Amanda just, you know, she probably would have knocked her out if she'd stayed standing, but when she went to the ground, she put her in an amazing triangle and an armbar and had her. It wasn't even close. It was just a complete brutal beatdown.
It was a non-event. It was just kind of like she went to a grocery store to pick up some groceries, you know, and along the way ran into Megan Anderson, beat her up, and then went home.
Yeah.
Then that's what it was, man. Like it was. I'm sorry. I think Megan's a great fighter, but you're just not on that woman's level because nobody else is, except for my girl Valentina Shevchenko. That's the only, like literally, that's the only woman that can give her a fight. And that's it. Yeah. That's it. That's it. She's the only one, man. Everybody else are several steps behind her.
A lot of times the UFC is reluctant to have a trilogy fight when one fighter has won two fights already. But you know, you and I texted over the weekend, also with Scott Holborn, and you know, you guys made great points that you thought that Valentina actually won the first fight, and it was a split decision win by Amanda in the second fight. So very, very, very close. You know, some of the toughest fights that Amanda's ever had. Do you see the UFC deciding, you know, yeah, we're going to put these two together again?
No, because Dana is Dana. He's like, I've seen it already. Not gonna happen. Sorry. No, I have no interest. Yeah, like Dana will just do his Dana thing, and so then I go to Dana and be like, so what is your interest in her beating the living hell out of everybody else? Like, because like everybody that you could throw at her, well, shoot, you might as well throw number 3, 4, and 5 at her at the same time in the octagon. See how they do. I'm going to tell you how they're going to do. They're going to lose. Yeah, they're going to lose. She could go up against 3 women right now and probably just take them out pretty easily, and then that would be that.
Yeah. Do you ever see a mixed martial arts promotion, maybe not the UFC, but do you ever see a mixed martial arts promotion where women would fight men?
No, you can't do that. I don't think so. I know that's been bandied around before. You can't have her. Okay, Nunes. The only person I would like to see Nunes fight, only 2 people actually. I'd like to see her just knock out the Paul brothers, the Jake and Logan Paul. I would pay money for that. I'd say, Amanda, this is for charity. I just want to see hurt these people as badly as you can. You can do that for us. We'll give her like a $2 million to charity. And then she'd be like, be my pleasure. I'll take them both on at the same time. Done. That's the only fight that I could see her doing, a man against a woman. But honestly, man, I'm sorry. It's a gimmicky, weird thing. I don't think the UFC as a real professional league could ever even entertain the fact of doing something of that sort. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So now instead, what we'll see is just Amanda just tear through these helpless women for many, many years.
Few more years to come, yeah.
Yeah, like basically she's entered a realm kind of like Anderson Silva, where he was in the midst of his run, his epic title run, where it's just like, well, I don't know, I'm kind of bored. I kind of fool around now in my matches, kind of don't take it seriously, and I'm kind of just going to keep winning for a couple more years here. Yeah, that's where she's at.
Yeah, Yeah, well, we've seen some dominant champions in the UFC history, and sometimes you know there have been points where you thought, "Wow, when is this person ever going to be beat?" But you know, as I remember Conor McGregor saying, "Hey, it's like the king of the jungle. Eventually, every year, the guys keep coming, and they try to, you know, knock off the king, and eventually that king gets beat and taken off his throne, and usually dies or has to slink away, and it happens." Not going to happen in the foreseeable future, but I think there's a girl that's fighting outside the promotion right now that will get signed and get a shot at it, like we're seeing with Chandler, things like that. Yeah, I think that's probably the only one that can really do it, or someone, you know, just takes on one of the greatest coaches of all time and figures out, okay, I've seen the holes in her game. I know how to beat her. I saw Kat Zingano beat her. I think I know how to, you know, take her out. But yeah, it's amazing to see somebody so dominant right now in her prime.
Oh yeah, it is. It is amazing to see, and just to know when she gets in there that the opponent has no shot.
Yeah,
like none, no shot.
Yeah.
It's like you're just gonna get in there to just get hurt. That's it.
That's
Then you're
crazy,
gonna go
isn't it?
home with a loss.
Yeah, it's amazing, unreal. Okay, well, the first title fight of the night was the bantamweight battle between Petr Yan and Aljimain Sterling, and you and I were excited about this fight. We thought that Aljo was going to be able to give him his toughest test yet, and I couldn't believe the pace that Aljo had at the beginning. He was just throwing a punch, a kick, punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. He was really not even giving Yan a shot. I think he won that first part of that first round and was really like throwing Yan off his game, but Yan really just took it to him after that point. I think he ended up winning that first round, and I think he was definitely winning this fight, had it, and then just had a complete brain cramp and made one of the worst errors I've ever seen in a championship fight, and need Al-Jamain while he was down, got disqualified and lost the belt. It was deflating, and it was tough to see, and it was a really lousy way for such a great fight to end.
Yeah, and also too, it just put a weird vibe into the rest of the card, man. It really did. The thing that I look at that fight is Petr Yan's been fighting in the UFC for quite some time.
Yeah.
How do you not know the rules? How do you not know the rules, man? Like, dude, you got to know the rules when you step into the octagon, right? Or have you just been stepping in and going, rules, whatever? I'm sure I can wing it. Like, is that kind of how you've been fighting the whole time? Come on, man. Come on, man. You got to know better than that. And so when I saw him throw the knee, and it was just so intentional that you forced the ref's head. He didn't even have a choice, man. Like, it was like, oh, come on, dude. All right, well, I guess that's the way that fight ends. And I applaud the referee for doing his job. He did it the right way. That's absolutely a foul, and that's absolutely the way the fight should have ended, because it was so in your face, like the flaunting of the rules. Like, come on, are you out of your mind? You can't do that. And then in the post fight, where he kind of he didn't say it like that, but you could tell there was a questioning of whether he could continue or not. Hey, Peter, why don't you take one of your own knees to the dome and see if you can continue? I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so.
That was wrong of him to say, and he made this excuse, and you know, I'll just say it. I don't agree with it. I don't believe it, but he said that in the post-fight conversation that the ref came and said, he said, this is a grounded fighter. When he has his hands down on the mat, he's a grounded fighter. When he brings it off the fight, you can do anything. He's not a grounded fighter. So he said he didn't even have the knee part in his brain when he saw him lift his hands off the mat. he was thinking, oh, he's not a grounded fighter anymore. I can take my knee to him. You know, the referee doesn't have to say the knee part of it, because that's just automatic across every promotion, across every jurisdiction, and especially Vegas, is if a guy's kneeling, he's got a knee down on the ground, he's a grounded fighter. So it wasn't cool. The other part that they said was a little controversial, that they thought maybe his corner had yelled to him that he kick him, he's open to be hit. I saw one of his cornermen, when the knee was struck, immediately went, oh no, and I saw the other cornerman go, yeah, woohoo. And so I feel like the cornerman that got excited about that maybe was the guy that yelled to him. They both had masks on, so you couldn't tell, but just the reactions. I don't know why a guy would cheer off that knee, because I don't think anybody else would have.
So then the next thing is, are you trying to tell me your cornermen don't know what's going on? They don't know how to corner you? They don't know what is going on in your corner?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you paying these guys money? Because apparently some of these guys need to be cut. Yeah, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah. They don't know what they're doing, man. And
I want you to watch that footage and tell me if you saw the same thing I did. I just saw the one guy, get happy when that knee was delivered, and supposedly Khabib was, cage side, and he said he heard, kick him, and so Jan, didn't kick him but kneed him, same kind of difference. So does the UFC just run this back right away? Does Jan deserve an immediate title shot? This is cheating. This is one of the most blatant rule violations you've ever seen. I think he should be penalized and not given a title shot right away. But do you think the UFC just runs it right back?
Well, if it's Uncle Dana, which he is the one running the show, he probably just runs it right back. But I agree with you. I think, because I guess he could say, I would assume that Uncle Dana's just going to run it back immediately. But he may not do that either. He may look at it and say, I need to send a message to these guys that the rules are there for a reason. And if you break the rules, and you break it as badly as he did, there will be consequences that must be paid.
Yeah.
So maybe he lets Aljo keep the belt and fight two other people before Petr Yan gets a chance to fight for it back. Maybe he does that.
That's the way I'd run it if I was running the show. I would not give Jan a shot, because that was now Aljo's going to have a suspension because he was concussed. He's going to be compromised for a while, not going to be able to train. That was a blatant cheating maneuver, and you can't. There's no way, as a mixed martial artist professional fighter, and being in the cage, he's had 17 fights in his career, lots in the UFC. He doesn't have any excuse. He has zero excuse for delivering that blow. And to me, you've lost the belt, you've lost your chance in line, you're going down, you have to fight another couple times before you get another shot.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I agree with you, because you just can't do that. You can't do that. And there has to be consequences for you to not know the rules, and then for you to break the rules as egregiously as he did in that fight. There has to be consequences for that.
I saw some pictures a couple hours after he got out of the hospital. He faced off with Triple C. Henry Cejudo and him faced off and said, let's do this. Cejudo said he would come back for that fight. He's been retired for more than a year, but Cejudo says he would do that. And the other guy that threw his hat in the ring was TJ Dillashaw. And Dillashaw said, hey, Aljo, I think you could win an Oscar for that performance there in the cage. And he said, Jan, now you know, now you've joined the ranks of the cheaters. And so he started throwing some dirt on both sides of the fence there. And so, yeah, do you think either one of those fights could be fun to watch?
I think both of those fights could be fun to watch. I think honestly, I probably give Cejudo the chance over Dillashaw because Dillashaw is a cheater. We all know this. It's what he's always done. It's who he is. So I would probably give it to like the golden boy Cejudo, and then also too make sure the man gets paid because I think that was part of the reason why he left in the first place because his money was never right. But then again, that's a Dana White thing again. But yeah, man, I could see that. I could see the UFC definitely going that route and going away from Petr Yan for a bit because of what he did. But then again, they might not do that. They might run it back right away. This one is a really tough one because I don't know exactly what they think or how they want to approach this. But at the same time, if they don't approach this the right way, Darren, then they'll set a dangerous precedent.
I think you're right. Yeah, definitely. Do you feel pride that there's a Jamaican American champion? That should Al-Jamain feel happy? Should anybody feel proud being followers and fans of his that he has the belt now? Or because it happened this way, it's just hard to feel happiness in any way?
It's a tough way to get a belt, tough way to get a belt. I don't know. It's great that he has the belt and he's the first Jamaican American to get a belt like that. That's great. It's just the way that he got it is not the way that a champion wants to win a belt. It's just not the way that anybody wants to win a belt. So maybe, depending on how it goes next, whatever his title defense is, if he is able to win that against whomever, then that's when a real celebration can begin. With what this is now, I kind of totally understand why he tossed the belt as soon as it was put around. I get that. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was such a drag because that was probably the fight that I was looking forward to the most on the card, and the Funk Master came out so fun. I couldn't believe the pace. He, I think he came out a little too hard and he gassed out a little bit as the fight was wearing on. But yeah, tough way for it to go down. He's got to get better on takedown defense. Petr Yan was 7 for 7 on his takedowns. And, Aljo did get back to his feet most of those times, but Aljo was only 1 for 11 on his takedowns. So those were two major factors on why I think Yan was winning that fight. And yeah, 7th undisputed bantamweight champion of all time, 6-fight win streak, and the first time in UFC championship history, a disqualification handed the belt to the challenger. And yeah, but it was a black mark on a great night. There was 15 fights. Let's break down a couple of more. Islam Makhachev really came in and beat a really, really super solid Drew Dober. Amazing submission that he finally sunk in the 3rd round. And I'm super impressed with Makhachev and another Russian that's on a very, very heavy streak that's going right to the top, I think.
Oh yeah, man. Like he's definitely from the Khabib camp of my wrestling is so much better than anything that you've ever even come to or approached in your life. Because Dober is no joke. He's that good. And he made him look like an amateur when it came to the ground, man. Like it was ridiculous. And Dober's takedown defense is probably one of the best in his division. And he had nothing for him. Absolutely nothing. Couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop any of his takedowns or anything like that. Or he was able to stop one And then since he chained the takedown into something else, still took him down. Like Makhachev was super impressive to me in that fight. Like once he got it to the ground, he dominated him. He owned him. There's nothing he could do. And then for the actual submission, that was like his shoulder. He just used his shoulder. He shoulder choked him. That's it. Shoulder choked him, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And he was tapping frantically because he was gonna die, and he knew it.
Yeah, he's super powerful, and they called it an arm triangle choke, but you're right, it was more the shoulder. Khabib looked super excited. I think Khabib's gonna just really enjoy being the head coach now of all these guys and be able to eventually get to having a champion under his helm. That was a long layoff. He had been laid off since September 2019, but he's on a 7-fight win streak now. Only Charles Oliveira has a longer win streak with 8. There's a lot of talk that Tony Ferguson could be next. Makhachev went in 14th ranked in this, so I think maybe that's too much of a step up. But I think because Tony and Khabib were supposed to fight so many times that it just didn't happen, that I think he wants Makhachev to go in and finish that battle eventually for him.
That would be great. That would be great fight for them to organize and orchestrate, because I believe he's ready for a top 5 guy now. I don't think this is going to be a big step up for him at all. Like I think he's ready, and I hope that this is the year that we actually see him up his frequency of his fighting. Like he just doesn't fight this one fight and then that's it for him for the year. I hope he fights 2 more times this year. That's what I'm hoping for.
For sure, yeah. The UFC has said they want their fighters to be fighting 3 times a year. So let's hopefully they can make it happen. The light heavyweight fight early on in the card was supposed to be the next contender coming up for whoever won between Blachowicz and Adesanya, but very disappointing fight. They fought way too cautious for me. Thiago Santos and Alexander Rakic. Not impressed with both performances. They did not really take it to each other, and I feel like it actually diminished both guys' ability to be in that title fight realm. I wasn't impressed with it at all.
Well, it seemed like they were more concerned with point fighting. You know what I mean? Like instead of like winning the fight, just trying to win the fight on points. And also too, kind of concerned with Santos. His movement seemed very different than what it was before he fought John Jones and suffered those horrific knee injuries. I think his mobility is definitely now lacking because of those injuries to his knees. He just didn't move nearly as well as what he once did. And he just seemed like he was wooden, like he couldn't, like he was stuck in the one position and that was it, So I don't know. I hope that with more rehab and physiotherapy that some of that mobility and that movement will come back, but maybe it doesn't.
When you have double knee surgery and one knee was just shredded, it had damage to all the ligaments and, really brutal. These guys are really big boys for 205. They're really, really muscular, very huge. You see that big Thor hammer on Santos's chest, and, he looks like a very, very tough individual. That fight against John Jones, he was great, but obviously he was fighting with compromised knees and, wasn't able to pull out the win. But not impressed with both guys. Santos, you're right. He looks slow and not very good. And Rakic grinded out a win. But, very disappointed in both those guys. And I think it was a step back for them in their careers. And they're going to have to face somebody else before they can get a shot at the belt. So the main fight for the prelims was the return of Dominic Cruz fighting a lesser known guy in Casey Kenny. Dominic, he hadn't had a win in a long time. He's had so many injury troubles. He looked sort of like the Dominic Cruz of old, and ended up having a nice win. He hadn't won since UFC 199 in 2016. And yeah, I think if he can get a little more action, yeah, I think he can, probably be a factor again in this division.
Yeah, and I want to say I think this is the healthiest we've seen Dominic Cruz in like years, like literally years. Like he was actually healthy for this fight, and I find great joy in watching that man go to work in the octagon. His footwork is just so crazy unique to him because he's developed it. That's his style. And I just love watching it because what he does to his opponent, it's like a snake charmer, mesmerizes you. And all of a sudden, you're not really doing much. You're just watching him as he's doing his work. He's pot shotting you, he's kicking you, like he's doing all the things he needs to do, but you're not doing much because you're just like, what's he doing this time? Where's he going? What is it with this weird movement? Like, I like it. I like it. But Kenny was game, but he just did not have enough Cruz in this fight.
Yeah, no, I love watching Dominic Cruz fight. Incredibly talented guy, but yeah, just his injury troubles have just been so brutal, and he's the guy that says, oh, you don't get rust from long layoffs, but we all know that's bullshit. And you suffer rust, and you're not as good when you have long layoffs, compared to guys that are in the cage a lot more. So let's hope Dominic can stay healthy and has an opportunity. He had a really strange call out after the fight. He called out the one of the head guys of Monster Energy to fight him. He said he wants to have a charity fight, and I'm going to pull up some of his comments here and give you an opportunity to talk about it. It's kind of bizarre. Can you read some of this here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, look at my face, look at my body. I get beat to death for a living. So when you try to force me and text me, if I don't comment on your page, if I don't give you an interview, that you're going to take my sponsorship away, take what pays my bills. What are we doing? Monster sponsors me, not you. This was a call out because he calls himself a pro fighter. He's got 100 pounds weight on me. And I'm like, we can make this a win-win situation. Let's do a charity event. Monster picks a charity, and then we scrap it out. He said he's already got 3 pro fights. Well, let's prove it. Put your money where your mouth is. You've got a little tiny guy calling you out for charity and not for anything else. Let's do it. Why not? This guy's name is Molenkamp. Hans Molenkamp.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really bizarre that he called this guy and said, let's do some charity fight.
It was odd. Like, I remember I did hear about it, and I'm just like, who's he? What? Like I didn't know what the heck was going on. So clearly, with him doing this, there's a lot more stuff going on behind the scenes. All right. Something else is going on that we're clearly not privy to. That's why he did this. That's why he went to this extreme to do this. And so I don't know if this guy is saying, if you don't respond to me, I'm going to take away your sponsorship, because he's the CEO of Monster. And then Monster does sponsor Dominic Cruz. And so now he actually has to play ball with him in some sort of way so that he can get paid. And this is the only way that he can feel in a way that he can manipulate it to the way that he feels it should be. So, so that he comes out on top, as opposed to this Molenkamp person. Maybe it's a power move. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. All I can say is this: it's super weird. It's very super weird. Yeah. It's super weird, and it's super weird to see if this Molenkamp guy, how many other fighters is he doing this to then? Is he doing this to others? Because then You know what? Then that would mean Dana White would have to get involved, because then that's a problem. That's a major problem. Can't be having that.
Well, I did see a quote, some quotes from Monster recently, just before we started this podcast, and they said they are taking these allegations very, very seriously, and they want to do an investigation to find out what's going on, what's happening. If there's been some inappropriate conduct by one of their employees, they will take some action. Dana White had some comments as well, and he said, I think this guy's a little bit kooky, a little strange, but Monster has been a phenomenal sponsor for us. They don't have to sponsor any fighter. They choose to sponsor who they want to sponsor. So it's not their right to get this money. It's up to Monster who gets, this money. And he said, when we would negotiate a contract in the early stages, we had agreed on some money, and Monster said, no, that's not enough. We actually think they deserve about 25,000 more per fight when they represent us. And so he said, they've been a phenomenal sponsor. They've been really great. He was, not surprised to hear that people have personal problems with this guy, but not to the point where, he wants to fight him. So, we'll see the fallout of it. I was surprised. We usually hear a fighter call out a guy that's above him in the rankings, go for a title or something, but to call it one of your head sponsors, that was pretty bizarre.
It was pretty bizarre, but also too, Dominic Cruz is not an idiot. He's a smart human being. So I guess you could say, with him bringing this kind of to the other execs' attention, he got what he wanted, which was, oh yeah, you guys are going to figure this out because I'm kind of sick and tired of it. And then probably so are a lot of other fighters that don't have Dominic Cruz's celebrityhood. And so all of a sudden now it's going to be figured out. Now it's going to be handled. And so, like I said, Dominic Cruz, he did that for a reason. I remember when I heard it, I'm like, he's doing that for a reason. And he's a smart dude. So for him to bring it to light the way that he did, well, then now others are going to be involved. And whoever high up this guy is within their corporation, he's not that high up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've seen CEOs of companies, getting a lot of trouble for a lot less than this. So, we'll see what shakes down over the next coming weeks. But maybe Dominic Cruz stays busy by beating up one of the head guys of Monster, and we get our wish to see him in the cage a lot more. So, okay, why don't we switch gears and talk about a couple of the other fights on the card. Kyler Phillips had a really nice decision win over Son Yadong. The Matrix really stepped up and had a great fight. Yadong was rated ranked number 14 in the bantamweight division. I think Kyler should now be into the top 15, first time in his life. 9-1 in his career, and he looked really impressive in this fight.
Yeah, he did. He really switched it up. He gave Song so many different looks that Song didn't know exactly what he was going to do from the next moment to the next moment. And so he kept Song guessing for the most part. But at the same time, Song is super tough. He took some shots that normal people you're going to sleep on. Like that one head kick to the dome, it didn't even phase him. I was like, what
tough
are
guy.
you made of? That's not normal. And so, but I was super impressed with Kyler's diversity of his attack and just what he did in there against a very, very dangerous fighter. Impressive win by Phillips.
Yeah, that head kick would have knocked out 95% of the people on the planet at that weight. And, he threw a head kick and he connected with it. Then he threw a spinning kick, connected with that. He was really good at his takedowns. He definitely was really a superior fighter. It was cool to see that he actually started fighting 3 years old. He walked into the Gracie Academy at 3 years old and started fighting. So, I think we've got a new up and comer and guy that on the rise in the bantamweight division. So it's going to be fun to watch his career progress. This flyweight fight between Joseph Benavidez and Askar Askarov was great. Benavidez has been, you know, one of the top guys in the division for many years. He's had some heartbreak when he's tried to get the title, but still ranked number 2 coming into this fight. But Askarov was really super impressive. I think he deserves a title shot when Figueiredo and Moreno 2 happen. Whoever wins out of that one, I think Askar deserves the next shot.
Yeah, like he was completely dominant in this fight. He really was. I would say that he beat Benavidez at every juncture, at every point in this fight, whether it be stand up in the striking, whether it be in the grappling, whether it be in the exchanges in the grappling. There was nothing that Benavidez could beat him at in this fight. And on top of everything else, the dude's basically deaf in there. So he can't even get any cornering from his corner. Yeah. Like he's in there by himself, unto himself, fighting purely on instinct. And that's impressive. That's super impressive.
Yeah, no, I feel sorry for Benavidez. I think, he was just overmatched in this one, and he got beat up real badly. He got dominated in the grappling. He was really dominated on the feet. 30-27 on 2 cards, 30-26 on the other. Like you say, man, that's amazing for a guy that has that little hearing. I guess he only has about 30% hearing in one ear and only about 50-60% hearing in the other ear. And it just doesn't really, they say it doesn't hear well at all, has a really hard time with it. He's got those cauliflower ears, which make it even tougher to hear. So it was really impressive. And, you know, as I said, I think he deserves the next title shot. That Figueiredo Moreno first fight was one of the greatest fights we've ever seen. Really looking forward to number 2, but whoever emerges from that one, I think they're going to be facing this Russian, and it'll be a hell of a battle coming up. Kai Kara France won this flyweight fight with a knockout right at the end of the first round, and he got $50K for one of the performances of the night. He is one of those city kickboxing guys from Auckland, New Zealand. There was 3 guys on this card from there. He's 5-0 in the UFC, and his nickname is Don't Blink. And he was finally able to get a UFC finish, and it was great. It was an impressive performance. I loved it a lot, and for him to get such a late finish where he did the Mark Hunt walk away, yeah. It was kind of cool, kind of fun.
Yeah, it was fun because like he was definitely. It looked like he was being overwhelmed at the beginning of this fight by Buterin. Like once Buterin got him to the ground, he almost had him in a rear naked choke several times. Almost finished the fight several times. Makara France fought the hands, was able to get back to his feet, and did a beautiful 2-piece combination, punch combination. That was the beginning of the end for Buterin. KO'd him, walked away, thought that the fight wasn't over, was going to go back in for more punishment, and then
Herb had to go. Whoa! I've called it off. Yeah, don't hit him more. Like, because he had walked around the cage a little bit, and then he looks over and thinks, "Whoa, he's not done. Okay, I'll go finish him." And then Herb had to. Oh no! It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny, man, because at first Herb didn't stop it, but then he looked at him and said, "Oh no, you're done." And then he stopped it, right? So a great win by Kara France, though, and especially spectacular with the fact that I believe he did that with 5 seconds left in the round. That was amazing.
Well, Rogerio Bontorin, that was his. He had already had 9 rear naked chokes in his career that he had for wins. He was trying to get his 10th, but France just kept defending, kept pulling those hands down, kept moving, kept trying. I couldn't believe how long he had to fight off these submission attempts, and it was just unbelievable that he pulled it off in the first round, because you didn't think he was going to be able to get away from this guy. He was either going to sleep, he was going to tap, or that round was over. But for him to win it 5 seconds left in that round, it was a shock, and it was a really cool way to kick off the prelims.
Oh yeah, man, it was awesome. It was an awesome way to start the prelims, and it was just amazing to see because it was totally unexpected. I did not expect the fight to end in that way at all. No, that is not what I expected.
And he called out the winner between Moreno and Figueiredo as well. He thinks he deserves the shot next, and we'll see. He's a new dad, so he said he had extra motivation, and he's ranked number 8, so I think Askarov deserves it sooner than he does, but you might as well shoot for the moon and see what you can get. So yeah, I know you didn't watch the early prelims, but I do want to mention it just to our listeners and viewers that saw it. I want to mention the fight that got fight of the night. It was between Kennedy, and I can't even pronounce his last name. Do you know how to pronounce his last name? Kennedy's last name? Kennedy Njukwu. He fought Carlos Ulberg. And man, was this a hell of a fight. Ulberg is also from that city kickboxing in Auckland, New Zealand. And he was beating up Kennedy so badly for so much of this early part of this fight. He was outstriking him. Kennedy was just turtling and holding his hands up and trying to deflect blows. This actually is the largest deficit in strikes history for a comeback to win. He was outstruck by 50 punches, and he ended up getting an amazing knockout that was just something that you should watch. Epic knockout, very impressive, and I was blown away that Kennedy was able to pull this fight off because he was in so much trouble for so long, and he ended up getting the win.
Oh, well, you know what? Perseverance is the key to some of these fighters, man. And then once he saw his opportunity, maybe a chink in the armor, threw what he needed to throw, and ended the fight just like that.
Yeah, it was incredible. He had been on a 2-year layoff because of injuries, and he just didn't start well, but he just was able to get himself deflecting the shots. He wasn't taking severe blows the whole time, but Ulberg is a tough guy, and he was really, really firing as much as he was, rocking him early. But I think he got a bit fatigued, and I think Kennedy was able to see that fatigue and was able to capitalize. And the other 50 grand was Uros Medic, and he beat Elon Cruz. Incredible fight. There was the strikes were 48-0, and he went in there. He won his 7th fight. His last name is Medic, spelled Medic. It's Medic or something, but he's called the Doctor. And man, whoa, this guy was not. He was very seriously taking this guy out as quick as he could, and it was just a serious beatdown. 48-0 were the shots.
Wow, that is a serious beatdown. That is a blowout by exponential standards, you know.
50K goes to him, and both Dana White Contender Series alums, so it was fun. There's a couple of one more note I want to mention before we move on from the UFC. Dan Hardy has been fired by the UFC. Did you hear that?
Oh, what did he do?
Let's share the screen here, and this is what I saw on bjpen.com. So bjpen.com posted this yesterday. It said Dan Hardy has reportedly been fired by the UFC, and BT Sport following an alleged incident with a female employee on Fight Island. So then Dan Hardy responded to the tweet and he said, rather misleading headline here at bjpen.com. Not entirely accurate either. I am no longer working directly with the UFC. The female part is irrelevant. It was a disagreement over an opportunity missed or withheld. And I'd love some answers, but can't get any. So, yeah, tough news. You and I are Dan Hardy fans, and we liked what he brought to those international cards as an analyst, but supposedly he is now out of a job and won't be doing any more UFC fights.
Do you think that there was still fallout over that whole Herb Dean thing?
I do.
I think that's more to the point than anything else. I really do. I think Dana was still probably kind of sore over all of that, and maybe still was just kind of like, nah, man. And like because I kind of think Dana actually suspended him without it being public knowledge, because he didn't do some UFCs for a very long time until he did come back. And I think he was still probably dissatisfied with the level of consequence to his actions. So he just got rid of him now. And then maybe made it a point of, well, whatever we can say, then we'll say it. I don't give a shit. Like, I just want him out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's probably more to the point.
I was going to tell you that. I feel like, Dana seemed to say, no, I'm giving him another chance. And, it's not going to affect his employment, but I've given him a stern warning and said that, if he ever does that again, he's immediately fired. But I feel like you're right. I feel like there's still some fallout over the Herb Dean incident. In case viewers and listeners don't know, Herb Dean was officiating a fight last summer in Abu Dhabi, and Dan Hardy started yelling into the cage, stop the fight, stop the fight. He thought the one fighter was dominating the other guy too badly, where the other guy was taking unnecessary damage. Herb Dean was allowing this fight to continue, and he started getting distracted because no fans are in the arena. He was yelling it so loud that Herb started taking his attention away from the fight, wondering who's yelling this. Was it his corner asking him to stop the fight? I called it and said it was a really horrible move for Dan Hardy, and it should never be allowed again. Dana White said he handled it. He's still employed. He will be moving forward, but I've disciplined him. But yeah, to see this only a few months later, I feel like it's from fallout from that incident.
Yeah, I kind of completely agree that is fallout from that incident. I think maybe Dan Hardy did something else that finally just tipped the scales for Dana and said, yeah, you're done. That's it. I'm not dealing with this anymore. You're out of here. And so that could have been it. And it could have been something very, very simple, very minimal in the grand scheme of things. But since he was on thin ice anyways, that was it.
We've seen Dana White get into, squabbles and battles and, have incidents with fighters before. And, we saw him fire Stitch and, people like this. There have been guys that have said, you'll never be in the UFC again and come back. So maybe Dan Hardy has a chance to redeem himself after a little bit of a cooling off period. But it's too bad. He was a great analyst. I thought he did a really bad thing by yelling into the cage, saying that type of stuff. But we'll see if we hear some more details of this. But I just heard it today. I thought I should mention it for you and for our viewers and listeners. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, man. Well, hey, lesson learned for Dan. Hopefully, in the next organization that he joins, he won't be so quick to question referees as loudly as he did.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of basketball notes and then some football, but I want to mention our partners and sponsors first. Anchor FM has been a fantastic partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media. They've been really great at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. and they call themselves the easiest place to make a podcast. So if you want to do something similar to what Jason and I are doing, just go to Anchor FM, follow the details, and they'll be able to set you up. I want to talk about Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is the lightest stick and most explosive on the market, 350 grams. Get it in your hands. You'll never have another stick ever again. Pampas and Possibilities, they design and sell dried florals, do floral arrangements and installations. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company, they grow and manufacture aloe vera-based products for health and beauty. If you go to CompleteSportsMedia.com, tons of details there. There is an ability for you to purchase products at discounted prices. And thank you to our partners and sponsors. Appreciate it, as always. So a couple of NBA notes. I guess the biggest news I want to talk about is that Blake Griffin is now a Brooklyn Net, signed there today. What do you think about him going to Brooklyn and being another option for them in the front court?
Oh, yeah. That they're just loading up, man. They're just loading up. Because that's a great pickup for Brooklyn. Because all they need is him to be a big body in there, cause problems. Cause problems, man. I think he can still catch lobs. I want to say that. I don't think his knees are so beaten that he can't catch alley-oop dunks, because he's going to get fed some easy ones by one of the best passers in the league in James Harden. I think it's a great pickup, man. Like, they can put him on other athletic bigs and he can guard them somewhat, you know? Like, it's good. It just expands what they already have as a formidable team with a Blake Griffin in their lineup.
He's reuniting with DeAndre Jordan, who he had a lot of success with in LA, and they were a good 1-2 punch in the front court there. He has lost a lot of his jumping ability. He doesn't block anymore. He's not that great on defense anymore. He does shoot the 3 ball, which they really like in Brooklyn, and they want to have guys on the floor that can shoot. I don't know if it's a smart move or not, because he just feels like the injuries that he's suffered over the last few years have just really compromised him down. In Detroit, 20 games this year, he averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds. Really wasn't much of a factor in many of the games. And I don't know. We'll see what he has, but they had an ability to bring him in. They're only paying him $6 million. He's on a low mid-level veteran minimum. I guess it probably won't hurt them, but I don't see him making a major impact. That's for sure.
No, it's just, I think it's more to round out their team, to be honest with you. Just another good guy that they can somewhat count on, that can like dig in against other big men on other teams. That's what I look at that as. That's what they got in Blake Griffin. He's not the Lob City guy that he once was with the Clippers. He's not that guy anymore. But he can step out and hit the 3, and he can hit the 3 with a good percentage. And that's what they need. They need guys that can space the floor. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be honest. It doesn't matter who they pick up. You got Kyrie, you got Harden, you got KD. Doesn't matter about everybody else. Oh, and you got Joe Harris. And Joe Harris is one hell of a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, so you got Joe Harris and Bruce Brown has been great too. He's had a career resurgence there, and they've, when you have that many weapons, as I said earlier in the Steph Curry conversation, when you have weapons, it makes everybody on the floor better. It's just, when you're not being harassed by top defenders on the floor and you've got more spacing, it makes everybody better. And they've got those top 3 guys and those other 2 guys on the floor to complement them. They're also going to have probably career years too.
No, yeah, man. Like when you got guys that are just that good, they're that good all the time. Yeah, you're just going to feed off that. Everything's going to be a lot easier for you because the defense has to key on those three. And then for the rest of you, it's just like, oh, okay, well, he's taking on three guys again. This is cool. I'm just going to be right here in the corner. Yes. Easy money. Yeah.
Two last notes in basketball. The Raptors just announced they will now be allowing 3,500 fans a game to be in the stands. That'll be nice for them to actually have some fans to root. But I don't know if 3,500 fans are going to be coming from Toronto to Florida to go to these games. Do you think 3,500 local fans will want to go and see the Raptors play whoever?
I wouldn't. It's Florida. It's contaminated. Like you got infected everywhere. It's like The Walking Dead. Like they're everywhere, man. I wouldn't want to do it, but I'm sure there'll be some Canadians that will have the wherewithal, will have the money to afford it, because even if you do go at this point in time, you go on vacation, you go travel, coming back, you will have to spend an immediate $2,000 and quarantine for 14 days. So I guess if it's worth your while for an extra $2,000 on top of your vacationing trip, go for it. I can't see it. I can't see it being a real big draw.
Well, when I lived in Ontario, Florida was the place where all the snowbirds went. You'd go down there, and certain cities, certain areas, you would just see, all Canadians, all gray-haired Canadians down there. And I would think there's probably a bunch of Canadians that are there right now just because they always have that second home. And, it's winter in, parts of Ontario that you don't want to be suffering through the winter. So even though they have to worry about a 14-day quarantine and spending that money on the hotel, I think some of them probably are like, it's worth it if I can be down in a nice, warm climate with my friends, with what I do every winter. So we'll see. But I'm glad that they're opening things up in certain areas, but maybe Florida isn't the place to do it. And we'll see. The last thing was Kyle Lowry has been starting to tell people in his circle and around him that he feels like he is going to be traded before the deadline. He thinks this will be his last hurrah with the Raptors. What should they do? Do you think they should move on from him or keep him around for another few years?
Well, I understand the move. I understand what Asai Ujiri is thinking because of the development of Fred VanVleet. Don't need Kyle. That's what he's thinking. That's literally what he's thinking. The guy, Fred VanVleet, just dropped 54 points. Yeah, that he's now come. Fred VanVleet has arrived. Kyle, I love you, but we don't need you. Kind of. And I get it. I love those two as a backcourt. I think you can still do something with those two just as your backcourt. But at the same time, I understand the need to move on or to get an asset back before his contract runs out and then they get nothing. So I personally, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't want to see the guy leave. I think he's represented the heart of the Raptors for a very long time. And I think he's still their heart and soul. And I just wouldn't get rid of a guy like that to get back pieces that I don't know if they will necessarily fit with what I have at this juncture, at this moment. Because if you're going to trade that guy, you will have to make sure that the pieces you get back are what you need, as opposed to things that you're going to then trade off again to try to get the pieces that you need. You got to get the things you need.
I could see Philly making a serious run for him. He's a Philly guy. That's where he was born and raised. They need another piece or two to compete with Brooklyn and top of the East and compete with Milwaukee. They are great this year, but I think they need a better backcourt. Somebody that can be a veteran like Lowry, I think would be an amazing addition for the Sixers and would really actually put them in tight contention with those top teams of the East.
Yeah. Sixers could definitely benefit from getting a Kyle Lowry on their team. Definitely could benefit. So could a lot of other teams. They could definitely benefit. It's just Majiri he's not a stupid man. He's going to get the best deal for this guy. He's going to get the very best deal for this guy, and he will not take anything less than that. So we'll see what he gets, because especially if he's very much focused and he's determined to get a deal, then he's going to get a deal done. I'm just very curious to see what he gets back in return.
Well, we're a few days away from the NBA resuming their schedule. It's going to be a fun second half. Really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be probably shortened a little bit because so many games were postponed in that first half. Only LA Lakers, LA Clippers, and Brooklyn Nets were the only three teams out of the whole association that didn't have games affected. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm looking forward to the second half and lots of really great storylines as we go on, you and I. We talked about basketball. We talked about fighting. Obviously, wrestling is such a huge component of mixed martial artists. And have you seen a new sport in Russia that's wrestling and basketball combined? It's kind of football, wrestling, and basketball combined, but it's a sport that I'd love to share with our viewers and listeners, and you too. I think it's a lot of fun. Take a look. It's called rug ball. They're wearing wrestling singlets. They've got a basketball, and they're carrying it not by dribbling. They're carrying it like a football. Yeah. And then they can be taken down. Look at this takedown by the hoop. Now there's another takedown. Oh, for some reason there's a whistle there. I don't really know the rules yet, but
no, doesn't look like there's any rules.
Look at that clothesline that guy got, but he scored.
You know what's great is that they don't have to dribble. They don't even try to dribble. That's
no
good.
Dribbling.
Yeah, look at that guy. No, that guy just got taken down hard. All right.
Yeah. Now like somebody's complaining about it for some reason. Don't know if that was illegal. What does that get you? Does that get you free throws? Nope.
It's amazing to me that the Russians always come up with these weird things, and it always has to involve. We got to beat each other up, though, guys. We have to hurt each other somehow, and then incorporate like basketball into it. Sounds good. Perfect.
Check it out, though, eh? Like, whoa.
Oh, that guy got smoked. Yeah. I love how they're just all little jacked men. They're just like, yeah. And you know where this gym is? It's probably somewhere in Siberia. Yeah. It's probably surrounded by mountains and just ice. Look at that. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just had to wait for the defenders to be tackled and go to the hoop, layup.
Yeah, this is easy.
Yeah, I thought we should try to get into it. I'm gonna try to find some more rules, and we'll play this a couple times through the season. And
well, I gotta be honest, I don't think there's any rules here. I don't think there's anything. I don't even know why they have refs. I don't know what they're doing.
That's hilarious, eh?
Yeah,
it's quite the wild sport. I'm a fan. I'd watch it. I feel like basketball from the early days was a lot better than some of these days. I think these guys are too wimpy. They get little tick on the hat. Oh my God. And they want to go to the free throw line. They're yelling and screaming at the ref. And there's just ticky-tack fouls way too much. This one is maybe going to the little extreme, but I'd like them to bring back a little tougher basketball eventually.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. No, ticky-tack fouls are here to stay. Your superstars will always get the benefit of the foul, even if it's not a foul. Shoot, I've seen some superstars get phantom calls where it's like, I didn't touch him. I'm sure you did. That's why I call the foul. So yeah, man, it is the way it is now. But yes, that game is going a little bit farther in the other direction, for sure. like a lot.
So did you hear Dak Prescott got signed to his big contract today?
With the Cowboys?
Yeah. He was tomorrow is the deadline to franchise tag your guys, and a lot of people speculated that they weren't going to be able to pull a deal off, but they did. And let's look at the numbers. I'm pretty impressed with how much he was able to get out of Jerry Jones. He gets $75 million in year one. He gets $160 million over 4 years, $66 million signing bonus.
Okay.
Oh, we got somebody else pulled up here.
Okay,
That's the rug ball guys.
Okay.
We've got so 160 million 4 years, basically 40 million average, but this year he gets 75 million. He gets 66 million signing bonus, 128 million guaranteed, and no trade, no tag. He's going to be a Cowboy for at least the next 4 years. That slots him right in behind Patrick Mahomes, who's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, right in front of Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. Do you think the Cowboys made a smart move?
I think they're kind of dumb. I think they had to throw that much money at him because they messed up the season before. I personally believe they probably could have spent less if they just handled their business the right way last season. But they didn't. They decided they'd be cheeky with it and stuff. And then all of a sudden the guy gets hurt. And now you're like, well, if we don't pay him at all, we lose him to whomever. So what are we going to do?
He's coming off a compound fracture and dislocation of his ankle that was massively serious, like really serious. We talked about, people losing a step. Thiago Santos from his knee injuries having a hard time coming back. Do you think Dak's going to be able to be back at full capacity already from that serious of an injury?
Well, let's be honest here. So the Cowboys haven't been very smart in dealing with Dak so far, as far as I'm concerned. But if you're going to give a man $130 million guaranteed, they've probably been monitoring his progress pretty closely.
Hope so.
Probably. Yeah. So from what they've seen, they were obviously pretty comfortable with saying, just back up the Brinks truck, give him all his money. He's going to be fine. All right, let's do it. Because that's the only way I could see them even considering giving him this much money. If his recovery was not going well, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't do it. They franchise tag him and then let him walk. They wouldn't do it. So.
Yeah, it's a bad move. Jerry Jones is a stubborn man. He gets into these contract squabbles with most of his players, and I think he messed up, like you say, last year. He was put into a kind of a no-win situation now, needing a quarterback. They put a lot of time and effort into Dak, and he obviously, gets along with his teammates well and is entrenched in that system. But I think it's a massive risk, and I don't know. I doubt it'll pay off because not many moves that the Dallas Cowboys have done for many years have paid off. They haven't been in the Super Bowl in 25 years. And I don't think they've got the ability to win a Super Bowl, even probably when this contract is still going.
No, because they're not good enough. They're simply not good enough. They're just not good enough. They're not good enough on offense. I don't believe they're good enough on defense. They're definitely not good enough on defense. They need pieces other than Dak Prescott to go forward and become a challenger, a contender, and they just don't have those pieces yet. They'll have to build towards it as he's still their quarterback, and hopefully they can do that, or the Cowboys are just going to be a cliff note.
On that list, Mahomes, Dak, Deshaun, and Russell Wilson. Deshaun still is in Houston, doesn't want to play there, said he's not going to. No word yet on where he's going, but Russell Wilson, big speculation that Chicago Bears are going really hard for him right now, and they're trying to get him into Chicago. I don't think it's a smart move for Russell, but it seems like for some reason this relationship between the Hawks and Russell has soured to the point where he's going somewhere and he's leaving, and maybe they can get Khalil Mack out of there. Maybe they can get, some of the pieces that they need on defense. But yeah, this is bizarre. It just soured really fast, and it really seems like we're going to have a conversation like this where Russell is somewhere else soon.
I would love to know what happened. I would love to know what happened, because like it seemed like it was kind of almost overnight. Like Russell made comments of, I'd like to be more involved in player personnel. As soon as he said that, you're out. Like it seemed like it was almost immediate. Did he just say player personnel? Yeah, he's gone. And that was it. Like it was like so immediate and just so drastic and fat. Like maybe there was stuff already going on that we don't know about. But it seemed like when he made those comments, he was gone. And I'm just like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked at it. I'm shocked.
I don't know John Schneider well, the general manager of the Hawks, but I'm surprised that just comments like that would, force a split and make him that angry and that upset that he thinks, he shouldn't be part of the organization anymore. I think, he seems to have had a great relationship with them for so long. He's upset that they maybe aren't giving him a say and they're not protecting him as much. He's been the most sacked quarterback since he's entered the league, but Pete Carroll and John Schneider, you've got one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league, and you've went to heights that the Seahawks never went to before, and it's going to end like this. It just doesn't seem right.
No, because it actually doesn't make any sense. You're just going to give this guy up? He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and that's how this is how it goes. That's it, eh? Wow. Like it just, like, I don't know what happened. Clearly something very, very like huge happened behind the scenes, to the point that this was an untenable situation where I gotta go or that guy gotta go, but one of us is gone. And Russell's gotta leave. And it's amazing to me, because he's that, like, quarterbacks of that skill level that are that good, that are Hall of Famers, you just don't let them go. You work with them. You do whatever they tell you to do, and you keep them. That's what you do. But this, I don't know, man. I look forward, if we ever do hear what actually happened, I would love to know what actually happened between the relationship between Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if we're ever going to hear that story. I really want to. I really want to know. Like, I really want to know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I guess the last story of the night, a Cleveland Browns wide receiver Ryan Switzer just announced that his 9-month-old baby tested positive for COVID, had some unexplained bleeding. He had to undergo some blood transfusions and surgery yesterday, and he's asked for everyone to pray for his kid and for his family as a whole. I hadn't heard of somebody this young getting COVID, but it's got to be scary for this family, and rocks the football sporting world with more COVID that it just won't stop. It's tough out there, and I really feel for these people.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers for sure. Hopefully, the baby makes a full and quick recovery, and like, this goes out to anybody that's suffering right now. Hopefully, everybody gets over this thing, and we solve it as quickly as possible, so that the suffering can end and we can continue on with our lives.
Well said. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jason. Yeah, well, I guess I'm just gonna finish this off here. I'm gonna put my rain jacket on, James Harden new fashion thing. I'm gonna try to go out for a little walk around the neighborhood if I can. And 4 days I'm free. I'll send you a message when I get out of jail here. And yeah, I hope you have a great week ahead. I hope you don't have to work as hard as you did today. And yeah, let's do this again on next Monday.
Yeah, man. Yeah, when we do this again, you'll have tasted freedom. You would have seen the sun again, and it's gonna be great, my friend. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. This was fun. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon, man. Cheers.
All right. Bye for now. All right. Fun as always. Yeah, great to have Jason in. We had a lot of fun here and talked about a lot of different topics as always. It's great to be able to cover fighting, basketball, football, and get into so many topics. I want to give a shout out to the Joel family. Really happy to hear Ross has moved from the ICU into a rehabilitation wing at the hospital, and he's on the mend. When we made mention of him weeks back, it really didn't look good, but really, really happy you're a fighter, Ross. I'm glad you're getting out of this, and yeah, everyone's keeping our fingers crossed, praying for you. Put up the good fight and get yourself out of the hospital soon. We really look forward to seeing you. So take care of yourself. And you too, viewers and listeners, take care of yourself. Thanks so much for your time as always. Appreciate it a lot. Enjoy your week ahead. And we will talk soon. Love you. Take care. Bye for now.